Apollo 11, 1969, Flight to the Moon. In 1969, humanity took one of the most monumental steps in its history, the moon landing. This achievement became possible thanks to the Apollo 11 mission, organized by NASA as part of the Apollo program. On July 20, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin set foot on the moon for the first time, leaving a footprint that forever changed our perception of human potential and scientific progress. The Apollo 11 mission launched on July 16, 1969 from the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral, marking the beginning of a new era in space exploration. The massive BC-Thaddeus Saturn V rocket, standing 110 meters, tall and generating 34.5 meganewtons of thrust, roared to life, ascending into the sky with an immense trail of smoke and fire. A few minutes after liftoff, the rocket successfully placed the Apollo 11 spacecraft into Earth's orbit. After completing several orbits to ensure all systems were functioning properly, the crew received the go-ahead to begin the next phase of their journey, traveling to the moon. On board were 3 astronauts: Neil Armstrong, the mission commander, Edwin Buzz Aldrin, the pilot of the lunar module Eagle, and Michael Collins, the pilot of the command module Columbia. Over the next several days, they would embark on a historic voyage that would forever change humanity's understanding of space exploration. 3 days after launch, on July 19, 1969, the Apollo 11 spacecraft entered lunar orbit, having traveled 384,400 kilometers from Earth. The astronauts spent several hours conducting final system checks and preparing for the most critical phase of the mission, the moon landing. The command module Columbia, piloted by Michael Collins, remained in orbit, maintaining communication with Earth and awaiting the return of his crewmates. Meanwhile, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin transferred into the lunar module Eagle, which then began its slow yet challenging descent toward the moon's surface. The landing was far from easy. During the descent, the onboard computer issued multiple overload warnings, and the designated landing site turned out to be covered with large boulders. Armstrong had to manually pilot the module, searching for a safer spot to land. With fuel running dangerously low, the lunar module successfully touched down in the Sea of Tranquility at 2017 UTC on July 20, 1969. A few hours after landing, Neil Armstrong opened the hatch of the lunar module and stepped onto the surface of the moon, uttering the famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." He was soon joined by Buzz Aldrin, and together they spent over 2 hours on the lunar surface, collecting soil samples, setting up scientific instruments, and capturing historic photographs. After completing all their tasks, the astronauts returned to the lunar module and lifted off to rejoin Michael Collins aboard the command module Columbia in lunar orbit. On July 24, 1969, the Apollo 11 crew successfully splashed down in the Pacific Ocean, marking the triumphant conclusion of one of the greatest missions in human history, Voyager 1. On September 5, 1977, a rocket launched from Cape Canaveral, carrying not just a spacecraft but the dream of all humanity. Voyager 1 is a probe that revolutionized our understanding of the solar system and went beyond its boundaries, becoming the first human-made object to reach interstellar space. Voyager 1 began its mission by exploring the giants of the solar system. In 1979, it flew past Jupiter, revealing its turbulent atmosphere, faint rings, and the volcanic moon Io. Then, in 1980, the probe reached Saturn, showcasing the beauty of its rings and the mysterious moon Titan, which has a dense atmosphere. On February 14, 1990, Voyager 1 looked back and captured the famous image, Pale Blue Dot. In this photo, Earth appears as a tiny speck of light in the vastness of space. This image became a powerful reminder of the fragility and unity of our world. In August 2012, Voyager 1 made a historic breakthrough. It left the heliosphere, the region of the sun's influence, and entered interstellar space. The probe is now more than 23 billion kilometers from Earth and continues to transmit data on magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and plasma. On board Voyager 1 is a golden record, a message to extraterrestrial civilizations. It contains sounds of Earth, images, and greetings in 55 languages. This time, capsule carries the story of humanity into the depths of space. Voyager 1 is more than just a probe. It is a symbol of humanity's pursuit of knowledge. Its mission has inspired generations of scientists, engineers, and dreamers. It has proven that even in the vastness of space, we can leave our mark. More than 45 years later, Voyager 1 continues its journey, carrying with it humanity's hope and knowledge. Its story reminds us that space is not the limit, but the beginning of new discoveries. Keep looking at the stars, because that is where our path leads. Crew Dragon Demo 2, 2020, was a historic mission, marking the first crewed launch of SpaceX's Crew Dragon spacecraft and the first time in history that a private company successfully transported astronauts to the International Space Station, ISS. On May 30, 2020, the Crew Dragon spacecraft, mounted atop a Falcon 9 rocket, was launched from the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral. On board were NASA astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken. This was the first crewed launch from U.S. soil since 2011. The rocket successfully propelled the spacecraft into orbit, after which the Falcon 9's first stage performed a precision landing on a drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Crew Dragon then continued its autonomous journey toward the International Space Station, ISS. On the following day, May 31, 2020, the Crew Dragon spacecraft successfully performed an automated docking with the International Space Station, ISS. This milestone served as a crucial demonstration of the reliability and safety of SpaceX's automated rendezvous and docking technology. Unlike previous NASA spacecraft, Crew Dragon required no manual control for docking, marking a significant advancement in human spaceflight. After verifying the airtight seal of the docking port, Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken entered the ISS, where they were greeted by the astronauts already aboard. Over the next 64 days, they participated in scientific experiments, technical tests of Crew Dragon, and spacewalks to perform maintenance on the station's external systems. The mission not only validated Crew Dragon's capabilities, but also paved the way for future regular commercial space flights. On August 2, 2020, after successfully completing all mission objectives, the Crew Dragon Endeavour spacecraft undocked from the International Space Station, ISS, and began its return to Earth. The re-entry process took approximately 19 hours, during which the spacecraft performed a series of maneuvers to gradually lower its orbit. Before entering Earth's atmosphere, Crew Dragon jettisoned its trunk section, and its heat shield endured extreme temperatures exceeding 1,900 degrees Celsius, 3,450 degrees Fahrenheit, caused by atmospheric re-entry. As the capsule descended through the dense layers of the atmosphere, 4 main parachutes deployed, significantly reducing its speed. Unlike previous U.S. crewed spacecraft, which typically landed on solid ground, Crew Dragon splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast of Florida. This was the first water landing of an American crewed spacecraft since 1975 during the Apollo program. A SpaceX and NASA recovery team quickly arrived at the landing site, lifted the capsule onto the GEO Navigator recovery ship, and assisted the astronauts in exiting the spacecraft. This successful return marked the beginning of a new era in commercial human spaceflight and proved that Crew Dragon was ready for regular missions. Crew Dragon Demo 2 proved that private companies can safely send humans into space, ushering in a new era of commercial spaceflight. It was a crucial step toward the development of the Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and prepare humanity for future missions to Mars. The mission was a triumph for SpaceX and NASA, confirming that the future of space exploration belongs to new technologies and international collaboration.